Residential versus commercial. What lawn care customer is right for you? G'day viewers, it's Jeff McFleece Gardening, Melbourne, Australia. Commercial versus residential. Which do you prefer? What's your preference? Which is more profitable? I'll let you know my experiences over the years between the two. But first, let's discuss the pros and cons of the commercial and residential lawn care customers. So how can we get the residential and the commercial customers? Residential is easy, isn't it? You can use the Facebook, you can use the letterbox drops, or maybe you've got a little ad in the local community in a newspaper. More importantly, you might have the referrals. That's the best ones, isn't it? Where the customer will refer you, their friends to you, or their neighbours or family or whatever. And also you'll have the walk-ups where you'll be doing a job and someone will ask you for a quote. So there's many different ways to get a residential customer. Commercial, on the other hand, it's a lot more difficult. They normally use the internet. They'll search for a gardening business that will suit them in their particular area that they want you. So it's important that you have a message in your Google ads that presents yourself as a professional, that you can handle the commercial work. You've got examples of your work. Very important. Because a lot of the time on commercials, it's price-based. But later on, I'll discuss how we get around that. Let's look at the advantages of the residential and commercial customers. The residential customer, it's a low entry point. You don't have to spend a lot of money to start off with residential customers. You can accumulate a lot of customers quickly. A mower, a blower and a whippersnipper is all you need. Your insurances are very cheap compared to when you need them for commercial operations. The other advantage of a residential is that they pay quickly, normally that same day, and they can become loyal and keep you forever. So there's some good positives with residential customers. Commercial clients can be one of the most profitable clients you can have. You're talking a lot bigger money with commercials. Because it takes a lot longer to do, your billable hours are so much more efficient with a commercial operation. You might be there for half a day or a full day or many hours. So you're not doing a lot of travelling. The other advantage too is that you're only dealing with one person. And generally that's only at the start of the contract. And after that, you very rarely see anybody. With a commercial client, you can operate any time you wish. You can turn up any time you wish. You haven't got someone ringing up saying, oh, you're coming today. So any time you can work with the commercial operations. Commercial has plenty of money, so there's no problems in paying you. Another great advantage there. Yes, they do have a budget to stick to, but once you set up at the start and you know exactly what has to be done, there's no hassles about getting deferred. I haven't got enough money this week. It's always going to be there. The disadvantages with residential customers is the reliability. How many times you had it that they'll ring up the night before, listen, the grass doesn't need cutting. Or listen, oh, we're going on holidays, we won't be back for 4 weeks. Well, you roll up and all of a sudden the gates are not opened, nobody's home. They may have builders there, they've got all rubbish from one end to the other and you can't mow the lawn, but they forgot to tell you. How many times do you get that? Or listen, can you do it on a Friday instead of a Monday? Or listen, now Christmas is coming up, we want ours done Christmas Eve. Is that possible? So there's a lot of things that annoy you with a residential, making that a big disadvantage. And that's the reliability factor. Commercial is not all beer and skittles as well. Commercial has a lot of disadvantages too. And that being, it's a lot more expensive to set up a commercial contract. You need high-class machinery, ride-on mowers. You need backups because you've got to provide that reliability to the commercial client. Because it involves so much money and it means so much to your business, you're going to make sure that you are reliable. The insurances are so much dearer as well. In Australia, we need a minimum of $20 million public liability for a start, whereas Residential is only 5. So you can imagine the difference in the cost of insurance. So that's another big factor. The other factor that can be a problem is the person that you're dealing with. Now, it might be a grounds management manager that's looking after the contract, and they may change. And what happens when you get a new manager in, they want to stamp their authority on who's boss and change things. And that can be a problem at times. The other thing with commercials is it's very competitive. And when it's competitive, a lot of the time, the cheapest price wins out. Doesn't always work out that way, but it can. It's something to be aware of. So yes, commercials do have their disadvantages. So life's full of advantages and disadvantages. So what have I done to alleviate the disadvantages of the commercial and the residential customers? Well, the residential, you should know by now after watching a lot of my videos if you have, target the customer that cares about their garden. Because the customer that cares about their garden are going to value your great service. And when they value your service, price is not an issue. You set up a schedule, you roll up whenever, periodic times, you perform the work, any extra work, you let them know what you're going to do, and it's done. The customer that rings up the night before, grass doesn't need doing. The customer that gets the builder in and forgets to tell you that there's trucks and rubbish everywhere, or the one that continually doesn't lock the gate, unlocks the gate, they go on to what we call the drop list. Gone. It does take a while to get that customer that cares about their garden, but every time you get one, put that other one on the drop list. So important. But it does make life so much easier if you have that customer that cares. With the commercial, a very competitive contract to get, very competitive. You have big companies that work on volume and you can't compete against them. You won't beat their prices. What you've got to do, you've got to meet the decision maker in the commercial area. The decision maker or the person that's got influence on the decision maker, because you've got to show them how professional you are. In your advertising, you can have a good web page. It's going to display quality photos of your commercial sites. Your Google ads emphasise commercial of your particular area that you want to target. Show good photos of what you're doing, the equipment that you're using, and the result that you're achieving. And when you're talking to the people that have that decision making that's in their hands, you can explain to them how professional you are. You can explain to them that you do similar office complexes or factories or what commercial properties the same. And this is what we've achieved. And one of the biggest things I think is good with commercial is have references. From time to time, you'll lose a commercial because maybe they've sold, they've moved on, maybe they've decided to get their own personnel or whatever. Or even even your existing ones, don't be frightened to ask for a reference, because a reference from another commercial operator when you're going for a new one goes down a long way. It's like when you go for a job. Your potential employer is saying, have you got any references? Really helps for that person to understand who you and your company are. Something to think about. So, what do I prefer? What's my preferences? Well, it's a mixture. I have residential, 50%, and we're going to talk turnover. So 50% of my turnover is represented from the residential. It's what I call my bread and butter. It's always there. If I lose a customer, no impact, very small impact on the turnover of the business, and easily achieved to replace that customer. The other 50% is commercial. That commercial represents a huge profit to our business, so much more than a residential. But of course, there are risks involved. If I do lose a commercial, there is an impact to our profit. But what I try to do is have the residential as our bread and butter. It runs our day-to-day business. Our commercial forms our profit, makes the business worthwhile. So that's the mixture I have. Have that blend. I did try the complete residential. The trouble is, a complete residential, you have to do so many more to get the same dollars from the commercials. And because you're doing so many more, you're going to suffer burnout very quickly. And that's what happened to me many years ago. I was going too hard on residential. The other hand is I tried the full commercial. Very, very risky, because if you do lose one or two, a big hit to your income. And that's why I found that balance between the two. And because I don't have to put as many hours in to achieve the dollars that I need to make at the end of the day or the month or the year, I don't have to work as hard. And that's where the commercial brings that advantage to it. All right, viewers, that's what's worked for me. Now, what works for you? Let me know, please. I'd be interested to see what other people, what their preferences are. Really interested. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel, and likes and shares, and as I said, some comments would be great. Great day today in Melbourne. We haven't had rain for such a long time. We're in the middle of winter and it's been raining and raining and raining. So we've had a bit of a, not so much a drought, but it's been very dry. Mowing the other day with a rod on, there was dust. This is in the middle of winter. We've had green grass, but we just need that good soaking rain, which we're going to get for the whole week. So very happy man I am. All right, we'll see you on the next video, viewers, and thanks for watching. Bye.